Hey guys, how you doing? Let me get the hat on so you recognize me, right? I feel like doing something different today. Been doing a lot of music reactions for a long time, and I haven't done any of the other videos. Like, what have I? Just random thought type videos. But this is more than just a random thought. I have some things that I want to talk about. I just want to discuss, and I think it's kind of better to do it in this format of a longer video. There may be some things that people get out of this. There may be a deeper discussion that comes out of this as well. Some feedback. This is going to be going out obviously on my YouTube channel, Chords and Notes Nation, but also on my second Rumble channel, the Speak Life podcast. Because today this really does have to do with life and how we treat each other, how we view others in our lives, and I think it's very important to say that, we all have roles in life. We have to fulfill our obligations to survive, to fulfill our obligations to family, obviously to the jobs, the careers that we have. There's obligations. We have an obligation as children of God, first and foremost, and that's to love one another, and that is to love Him with all of our heart, our mind, and our soul. But it's also to love others just as much as we love ourselves, as much as we love Him. And there's these different versions of what people think love is out there. The world has a version of love that is vastly different than God's version of love. God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever should believe in Him would not perish but have everlasting life. That is the ultimate love Jesus talked about. That's the greatest love, of sacrificing yourself for someone else. Is that always a life and death sacrifice? I think that's the ultimate. But there's also other types of sacrifice. You give up certain parts of yourself, metaphorically speaking, helping others, being there for others. So you're giving up of your time, you're giving your resources, your money, your energy, whatever it is that's demanding from you, to be able to sacrifice that in order to help others. Within that, you should be feeling good about what you're doing. And that's okay, because you don't want to I don't know how to put this, because some people may think, well, if you're that the giving has to feel bad. It doesn't have to feel bad. It doesn't. But even if you are continuing to give at great cost to yourself, that's not always going to feel good. And that's an ultimate test right there, and a testament to the level and depth of love. But what about what happens when you don't have the resources to give anymore? And the other person now views you as useless and casts you aside and treats you as a pariah. I think we can all agree that that person has got an issue. They've got a major issue with being disrespectful and manipulative, and to using this other person for their own personal gain and advantage. Because why would you cast someone aside who's given you as much as they can which is not their obligation. I mean, there's certain things like if you're a parent, it's your obligation. If you're actually married to someone, it's your obligation. But if it's just two people that have entered into an agreement, whether it be through love, whether it be through something contractual, whatever the case may be, and you reach the limits of what you're able to do, how do you treat that other person? I want you guys to comment on this. How should you treat someone who is no longer able to fulfill a specific role in your life? Do you just kick them to the curb? Do you mistreat them? What do you do? Do you, I don't know. I spend a lot of time on social media and I see a lot of stuff out there that can almost be educational in a sense. I'm seeing a lot of talk about narcissists and what a narcissist is. And in fact, it's pretty apropos because in 2 Timothy, I think it's 3:2 or is it 2:3? I didn't memorize it exactly. It does say what kind of people humanity will become towards the end days of the age. And it's definitely, lovers of self, boastful, prideful, all of this, all of these narcissist traits. I've met some people like that. I've loved people like that in my life. And then they turn around and that's it. You're no use to me anymore. Get the hell out of my life. And that hurts. It hurts on every level. Especially somebody who cares. Somebody who genuinely, though not perfectly, loves another person. This happens all the time with online relationships. I read about this stuff. And the devastation that's left behind is so... I mean, I've read some stories, folks, where it's just like, man, it's easy to get on the person who has been involved, who chose to get involved with another person, whether it be online or in person, where that other person turns out to be the narcissist and just kind of, ruins the other person. And so it's easy to say, well, you never should have. You should have been smarter than that. You should have this. You should have that. And there's a certain amount of accountability there. But again, people who are genuine and true and loving want to help other people. And the kind of people that would turn on those people who have helped them and demonize them and make them into pariahs, they're the ones who have the real issue. And so now we're going to move into, with this subject, about the other things that I've been seeing on social media about making a better version of yourself, focusing on yourself. Well, isn't that quite the narcissistic? Well, it can be, but not always. It is important to go through healthy self-examination, to look at who you are, where you want to be, balance that against your goals. Obviously, are you walking under the guidelines that our Creator has made for us so that we can walk under His blessings? You have a choice not to. You can do it the way you want to, but you may not get the blessings. You know what I mean? So how you treat others also begins with how you treat yourself. And these people that are out there saying, well, I'm going to focus on myself. I often question, okay, if you do that, are you working on yourself if you're If you're getting rid of someone who's harmful for your life, that's one thing. If you're getting rid of someone who's no longer useful to you, that's a tough one. You know, I've encountered so many people in my life. So I've had quite a few different careers. And the personalities out there, myself included, can be pretty entertaining. But there are the rare few who are so self-obsessed that they've lost touch with reality and how you treat others. That's so important. It is so, so, so important. Try not to leave devastation in your wake. That's the ramifications of the choices that you make, especially under those circumstances where you're choosing to not love someone because they've got nothing to offer you. First of all, I'm going to offer that wasn't love to begin with. That's one of the most selfish and narcissistic things I've ever heard. Playing with other people's emotions. I see it every day. I see it every day. And I'm not talking just, relationship love. I'm talking about how you interact, how you snap at people if you're in a bad mood, we all get into those situations. I do too. And but there's this immediate system of checks and balances where it's like, darn it, I shouldn't have said it that way. So I'll stop myself and I'll apologize. I'll say, listen, you just caught me at the wrong moment. I really apologize. I did not mean to snap at you that way. People who have common sense, common goodness, this is how you act. But people who love themselves and are only interested in their own lives and what you can do for them and then get rid of you, I pray for people like that. But I've felt that. I've had that happen to me at different times in my life. And sometimes I feel like there's a special place in hell for you guys. And I should not be judgmental. But at the same time, it's like, you don't know what you do. You don't know what type of devastation you leave behind when you betray someone's emotions, when you make completely selfish decisions, when you use them, when you manipulate them, when you abuse them, when you don't believe them, all because of you. You. And so I think about this scripture in 2 Timothy where it talks about people being boastful, lovers of themselves, lovers of money, disrespectful to parents, all of these traits, these narcissistic traits. And I see it everywhere. Look at the social media posts, like the TikToks and the Instagrams, where it's all about me. Look at me. Look at my body. Look at what I'm doing. Like, follow, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. Now, when it comes to what I'm doing, okay, it's, yes, there is hopefully some monetary gain. Okay, that's all right. But it's not all about me. I'm not going to the gym and taking photos of, look at me. Admire me. I'm bringing to you thoughts and ideas and conversations and music that hopefully enrich this online world, these online conversations that we get into. I have some amazing patrons. I have some amazing subscribers. I love these people very much because they are genuine people. Even the ones that I'm close to that aren't paying any sort of monthly subscription or anything like that, that's not, whatever. If you want to do that, if you want to contribute to my overall economic well-being, great. Thank you so much. That's your choice. But I'm not going to force you into it, and I'm definitely not going to kick you in the nuts because you're not. Okay? That's the difference. So I kind of feel like I'm wandering here, but there's an overall arching theme. And it is about how we treat each other. It is about how people who are going to say, listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to work on a better version of myself. You better start with working on the inside. Look at how you treat others, whether they benefit you or not, speaks such volumes about who you are as a human being. And it's also a reflection of what you think of yourself. If you're willing to go out of your way to demonize and ostracize people who have loved and helped you, and all for the sake of, hey, you're no longer helping me, you're no longer useful to me, you're the problem. You are the problem, and you know it. Again, why are we here? To love the Lord our God with all of our heart, our might, and our soul. To love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Okay? Narcissism is not love of yourself. Narcissism is a deep void of scar tissue, emotional scar tissue, of things that you experienced or never experienced in your life that have caused you to view others as tools for your benefit. And those of you who treat others like this, you need to stop. You need to stop. I know of some stories of some people, not close to me, but the people that have told me are close to me, that have ended up pretty bad. All because someone in the name of love reached out to help someone else, and then that person turned evil against the person who helped them. You're living in darkness. You're not walking in truth. So if you're going to work on a better version of yourself, it is not by getting rid of external things first. The things that are not healthy for you, yes, I understand that. But blaming others for not being able to be what you want them to be, that's a problem that you have. Your expectations of yourself are too high. Or I shouldn't say too high, they're too unrealistic. Because if you are depending on other people to do for you that which you cannot, but you're fully capable of, then you got a problem. People who are disabled, people who, that sort of thing, I get it. But if you are capable of supporting yourself through extra effort, if you're capable of whatever the case may be, then don't use other people. You need to go to people for help once in a while, that's great. I've done it. But don't use people and then discard them and then say you're working on a better version of yourself by doing it. This is the Speak Life podcast. I've been mulling over this topic for quite some time. Not only based on my own personal experiences, but other people's experiences of what I've read and what I've seen about the Bible verse that I was quoting, and this concept of what real love is. And I felt like I needed to get this message out here that I'm going to say this very bluntly, okay? And God forgive me. I have a lot of emotion invested in this. So if my language gets colorful, I apologize ahead of time. But the people that are the narcissists that are trying to use other people and then blaming other people for their problems, or kicking them out of their lives because they're no longer useful, you need to grow the fuck up. It's not a joke what you're doing to other people. It just isn't. Be accountable for your own actions. Be accountable for your own life. Be an adult. Love one another. But love God first. Get your relationship with God as a priority. And start lining up with His teachings. And start loving someone else, not for what they can do for you, but for what you can do for them. That's all I got, folks.